Welcome to another episode of Sidetrack. Today we have David, our host and moderator. We have Abdi.
Yeah,
He is
what's up?
currently streaming from an undisclosed location within a volcano, and we have Azzy over here.
Not quite in a volcano.
Not quite.
Yeah, I'm trying.
He slips a little closer every day, but
Just barely.
American and Mexican, they're pretty close.
the volcano guys are not good.
So, what do we got going on around the world today? We
Well,
have
you know,
Canada.
COVID's still
COVID.
there.
Speaking of COVID, Canada actually kind of messed up with their whole COVID idea. Did you hear about this, Andy? Any store larger than 1,500 square feet, you have to show that you are vaccinated. You have to
Proof of
scan the barcode.
vaccination, yeah.
Yeah, and if
Did-
not,
Do they
you're not
take
allowed to-
urine samples?
I
No,
think
you
some of
just
them
have-
might. A lot of them, like
they
the
have-
people are semen.
I feel like I'd be all on board
Yeah.
for that.
yeah. Well, theirs is a passport on their phone, and you have to
Oh, yeah.
have the app. You have to scan the bar on there. But they didn't think about it because people go to Walmart to go to the pharmacy there.
to get.
So
the
they're
COVID
like,
card.
oh crap. Yeah. So they're like, how do we stop people from getting it? Because people were sitting there saying, look, I need my medications. I can't get in the store because of this whole thing. So then they go, okay, you can go to the pharmacy, except for now you have to be escorted from the front of the store to the pharmacy.
Created a
You
problem.
have to be watched
it's like
to
going
make
to
sure you're
pharmacy.
buying something.
It's like going to the pharmacy, but with extra steps.
Yeah.
So you cannot go outside without that thing.
You
Well,
cannot go to any large store.
It's
So
called
if
a
it's
medical.
I mean, in Europe, they're already implementing this. Like in Germany, this exists already. Like
It's called a
the
medical tyranny.
in Germany, they made it like that you cannot go to like restaurants or
I think
hair
they re-
salons, but like things which are mandatory, like supermarkets, like they didn't put those regulations on there. So it must be within reason, in my opinion.
I think they recently changed it in the UK. I think they dropped all the mandates that they had.
I mean, yeah, I think the
Yeah.
whole thing is unreasonable at this point. And honestly,
Exactly,
looking back,
yeah.
it's been unreasonable for a while. Okay,
A lot of
14
people are also
days to
protesting
flatten the
about this.
curve, 14 days to flatten the curve. Okay, not the worst idea in the world for an unknown illness. But now we're on day, 400 and whatever to the 14 days to flatten the curve, and it's like,
run
do
3
you
years.
guys
in a
know
row.
how to math? Has Common Core worked its way into the highest echelons of all governments?
Well, and that goes to this thinking that they're trying to purposely destroy all the countries' economies.
No, why would they do that? No,
Yeah, I know, right?
Easier to
Yeah,
control.
I mean,
it's crazy.
China isn't doing all these restrictions. They just kill off everybody who's infected and say, "Hey,
I mean,
we're good."
They kind of just
I mean,
organ harvest. Any
the part
China
that's
number
bothering,
one.
the part that's bothering me about this whole stage that we're in as far as COVID is concerned is what are they saying? It's now less deadly than the seasonal flu with the new Omicron variant or whatever.
Right.
Why not just say, you know what? Go out and get infected. No more quarantine. No more whatever. Just at this point, herd immunity actually is more of a reality than it was in the beginning.
I
Why not
think it
just
was
do
a
that?
reality in the beginning too. But look, even in the beginning, look at what they were doing. They were talking about how dangerous it was, but many states were putting sick people in old folks' homes. When I'm thinking about the people
Not
that are
exactly
probably going to be
the best
most
idea.
affected by any illness, I'm like, well, keep them away from the old people. It's like once you do that alone, all credibility is out the window because either you're incompetent or there's some sort of malicious intent. I don't know which. Is it good either way? No. Fuck your credibility. Fuck your credibility.
Credibility doesn't matter anymore. It's only the
Yeah.
amount of money you have and where you're at.
Yeah, well, it's
Yeah.
fucking it's bullshit medical tyranny, all right, and it's designed specifically to give these fever-brained elites more power over people's day-to-day lives for no particular reason, no good reason. Let me live and die as I choose to live and die. At the very least, if I die by my choices, at least I died because of my choices. If I die because of other people's choices, then I was murdered.
Yeah.
Bam. You fucking bottled that motherfucker.
Yeah, that's true, man. I agree.
David, next. What? Yeah.
Oh, well, I thought that conversation would go a little bit longer.
It's okay.
I think
I
we've all
mean,
beaten it to death.
people are
at this
chewing
point.
this subject so often that like there's
Yeah.
not much to say. Like we're beating a dead horse at this point.
Yeah,
which is
it's like how many
unfortunate.
times are you going to beat it before? And that's the thing, governments seem to beat people over the head with this, and it's
We're gonna
know.
beat it until they stop beating us with it. That's
Yeah.
Good luck with that one there. You got to get rid of the elites in order to beat it.
What it comes down to is, so long as they're using this to beat us over the head, we have to hit back twice as hard. Not just because of the little tyrants, but for the people who just don't. I'm gonna say just don't have the time to look more deeply into the issue. Like those who would sacrifice their freedoms for security will have neither. Nor do they
Yeah,
deserve.
definitely.
Yeah,
Kind of
have-
stealing that from what Jefferson
Sacrifice-
sort of paraphrased.
Ben Franklin, those who
Ben
sacrifice liberty for a little bit of security does that deserve neither liberty or security.
Well, my point is they will have neither, and that's exactly how things are playing out. You go to stores these days because you want to get like some freaking Cocoa Puffs, or maybe you want some chips, and you're like, huh, they don't have the chips that I want. And depending on where you're at, you might be like, you don't have any chips at all. I mean, okay, so yeah, you're healthier now that you don't have food. Good thing we don't have that COVID killing us.
Yeah, right.
Man,
So-
it's retarded. What do you guys think? Like, when will this be over? Like, my personal guess is gonna be that it's just gonna be treated as just like a disease, not disease. Like you have some flu, you get some medication. It's gonna be some casual thing. Is what I think, because people I know, family member, friends, they all got infected. They also got like vaccinated 3 times. Like they're all fine. Nobody
Oh,
died.
yeah.
Nobody,
It-
even
it-
even heavier ones.
It'll all
I
be
mean,
over
it's-
after this next election coming up.
There's a more clear
Oh,
way
sure.
to look at this, but I want to hear Azzy first. You're trying to say something.
Oh no! It's it's from what Abdi's saying on it. I kind of agree with it. I don't think that it's going. It's funny too. When it first came out, I was like, this will only last a year, and here we are 2 years later, and I'm like, it should be done. But here's the difference, I guess, between now and versus how it was back then. Back then, everybody was looking to the government for answers, right? I think now everybody's tired of hearing from the government.
They're not trusting them. Basically,
Exactly.
they're
This is my
So-
take on it real quick, which is it will be over when we, the people around the world, not just America, say it's over. As a matter of fact, look at how much they were tightening down the thumb screws in Australia. America's starting to get enough pushback that the narrative is falling apart here. And I think that America is being used as a linchpin either to push the tyranny, because if they can push it through to us, the freest land in the world, then they could pull it off anywhere. But the narrative is falling apart here, and people around the world are like, look, we are getting tired of it anyways. But come on, even America's saying it's done. Fuck you, get out of the way.
Yeah.
The government
Yeah.
exists to facilitate people's lives. And when the government starts getting in the way of how you comport your life in a sane way, all right, the government is no longer fit as a tool. It's no longer fit for function. And you have to sweep those people out of the way, either through voting or, I don't know, some other creative means, and have a government that makes sense. Or if you're an anarchist, you might be like, yeah, get rid of the government anyways. Fuck it. I'm not an anarchist. I think that's just a power vacuum.
No.
Well, I
And,
mean, libertarians have views on that too.
I mean, they can
Less
use
government.
the power within their rights, but they shouldn't go and go into the lives of others and decide what they have to do or whatnot. Like, it should be all within reason, but they're doing something they are not actually allowed to do, and people are just going with it because they're just sheep, Like, they should use their
Yeah.
brain, and that's it.
We're conditioned to trust authority, and the government does not give freedoms. Be clear on that. The government can only take freedoms away. They can only limit what you can do. Have they ever passed a law like, hey, we just passed a federal law, everyone's able to fly? I mean, just fly. And then they go outside their houses and they just start fucking. That never happened.
Well,
That doesn't
okay.
happen.
So by that argument, I actually do have an argument on that. Texas did pass a law September 1st that did away with the whole, you have to have a permit or anything for owning a gun. So now anybody can open and carry and conceal and carry without requiring a license. So they can give freedoms too.
No. You got to
or give them back, I guess.
Give them back. Because they took them away in the first place. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying there's not a place for that in this world, and we're kind of crazy, so maybe some limitations, but I don't know, that fine line between survival of the fittest and control mechanisms, it's a very fine line between doing it right and doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Agreed. Locking the world down is wrong.
No, tying people's hands and telling them they can't do their jobs or
can't provide for your family, can't make money
and
mortgage,
and not having faith. I would say not having faith in people, because I mean, again, suggestions could have been just fine. Be like, hey, think about your neighbors and the people you care about and stuff like that. Do you really want your old grandparents to die because you got sick? Like, just think about it. Just do that.
I mean, kind of like we've been doing
things
for like ever, hey, try not to get other people sick. We know you got to survive, so go out there and do it. But if you're sick, maybe take 2 weeks off or a week or whatever.
Or wear a mask everywhere you go. Just
I think they're trying to reduce time for quarantine in Europe. It's like a week or so, I've heard. Yeah.
But I mean, the point is people learn what government overreach is when the government is overreaching. Because before that, it's just this fairy tale you've heard about these tyrants from the past. But then when you're experiencing it, when you feel the pain of not being able to go out and make money, when you feel the pain of not being able to purchase goods and services, when was the last time somebody in California got a decent haircut, Well, at least during the whole, everything was locked down. I mean, aside from Nancy Pelosi, she's a part of the elite. Those rules are not for her. Yeah, I know the score. We're the plebs. They're stepping on us. These are the wrong elites.
Yeah. Oh, what's the next one, David? You got another one? I was just reading one. If you want me to poke that one out.
Go ahead.
I saw one. Texas teen charged with murdering 16-year-old girlfriend by shooting her 22 times is out on bond. 22
times?
It's my first question was, what fucking gun does he have that has 22 rounds in it?
I mean, well, I could see if the clip had 11 rounds, but they don't have a clip that just holds 11, do they?
No, yeah, they've got 11. I think they've got some that are 16, but I mean, you got to get some weird stuff to get above that.
Yeah, you do, but they do have those weird magazines.
Whole clips, and he emptied out one whole clip and then switched over and then does another whole clip.
It did say she was shot mostly in the back, and he got a $250,000 bond, and he is now out on bond.
No, he shouldn't be out at all. That wasn't an accidental. Oops, I just shot her. That's murder first degree. He intentionally had it.
Look at. All right, you have to look beyond the story and why they choose to focus on this story. I don't know how mainstream this is, but have you ever noticed they try to focus on certain things? Like, okay, some guy shoots his girlfriend in the back 22 times. You think that some attempts at gun control might follow that? You think that's a possibility? Because if this guy can't be trusted with a gun, none of us can be. And surely he wouldn't have done anything just as brutal as, say, a hammer or a knife. Only guns can kill people. And it's the gun, not the person. If he hadn't had that gun, they would have had a loving relationship. So.
No, he would have still tried to kill her. As a matter of fact, it said the motive for it was because apparently he was cheating with another girl, and they were fighting about it at a park, and because they were fighting, he just decided to kill the girl he was with.
I mean...
Oh, that's a logical reason. I can understand his reasoning for that one.
I mean, I understand the reasoning. I mean, it's psychotic, though.
That's about as bad as GTA's version, where they're marrying GTA and Grand Theft Auto 5 pushed his wife over the edge of a cliff because he didn't want to deal with her.
It's pretty much
felt that way before. It's not right, but we can get it. It's still not right.
We can, instead of just arguing and working your way out, no, push her off a cliff, shoot her, stab her.
If you're cheating on your girlfriend, just break up.
I know, right?
If there's a
You know,
kid, maybe this is one of those things. I know this, people talk about commitment, but commitment is about both partners being willing to go through bullshit so that ideally, you're raising a kid and the kid doesn't, get raised with all sorts of psychological issues and screwing up their life and the lives of those around them. Have you ever tried to help somebody who's messed up in the head? Ugh.
Well, and the sad part is that guy's a kid. I mean, he's only 17, and it doesn't appear to have said where they got the gun from. So
well, this also goes back to a lack of role models, good role models, especially for men. Look, at 17, you got all this crazy testosterone coursing through your veins. You're half fucking crazy just from that. You don't have any good role models. Like, look, when I was younger, I tell you, I wanted to fuck every tree and kill every person, and I realized, whoa, that's kind of crazy. And then I realized if I just sit back and play some video games, it's gonna be okay,
Oh, this actually does say that he had punched her in the face and pointed a gun at her in the past. So he should have been arrested before then.
He should have been arrested
before then. He should have had an exit strategy. She shouldn't have had the Joe Biden exit strategy. We all know that potato can't plan for shit.
No. And this
guy
goes to
needs
any
martial
woman.
arts of some kind. Like he has to release energy at some other place for real.
Yeah, something.
Yeah.
And
see, Abdi's being a role model right now. Correct, Abdi.
A lot of like here we have 911 that we can call up in the United States. A lot of the dispatchers have actually gotten better at understanding if a woman calls up and is in a situation like that where she thinks she's going to be harmed in some way, shape, or form, or is being harmed in some way, shape, or form, but doesn't want her boyfriend. And it's not just
where's the treasure chest?
We found something.
Turn my phone off.
I think we just found it here. But no, they're getting better where women can call them up, give them a code word that doesn't even have to be it. Well, like one woman, she called up 911 and ordered a pizza, but the dispatcher found out that the pizza wasn't actually a pizza she was ordering. She was actually calling for help because her boyfriend was about to hurt her. He was being abusive. He beat her, and but the dispatcher finally got the hint and said, okay, is he by you now? And she says, no pepperoni. And then it's like, okay, when the dispatcher asked questions, the girl's response was in reference to how to order a pizza. Right. So if a woman out there, whether they watch this video or somebody who's doing it, just let them know, call up help, and you don't have to tell them, hey, he's about to kick my ass, because guarantee you're going to get your ass kicked if you say that in front of them.
Here's a note for the future for anybody paying attention to this. This is why young men need good role models. Young women as well, but young men need some good role models.
Oh, they need a nuclear family. I mean, nowadays,
Yeah, they need the mom and the dad.
They need both, because
that would be nice. But hey man, if I'm just gonna be making wishes, I mean that'd be nice. But I don't know. We went down a weird trail at some point.
I mean, there's statistics that like school shooters, most of them are coming from single mother households. So that's another reason, like you said, they would need the mother and the father. Otherwise, we'll have those psychologically damaged kids running amok, like shooting left and right, and that's not a solution. So we got to do something about it.
Yeah, no, you're right. And what do you do about it? So one example that I have of something that you would do about it is stop making married people look like such a bad thing. Stop praising like all these single mothers and all this and that. Like we need to bring marriage back to a pedestal again.
Well, you're talking about the cultural messaging. I think that's a complicated thing, because first, you have to start with the cultural thing, but there's the legal side too. God, there's so much here. It's a multi-pronged, honestly, attack on a sane society.
It could start with the media, though. If the media actually started doing stories,
you mean the propagandists? No, they're trying to
saying it could. I'm saying it could start. I'm not saying it will, because obviously it wouldn't make money to tell the truth.
No, the media should have been doing that for years. I agree with you, but the media, yeah, they're a part of the problem. They need to get their asses kicked right the hell out of civil
It's
conversation.
even that idiot that is on Fox News, or not Fox, CNN.
Brian Stelter?
Don Lemon. Even him,
Lemon. Yeah.
Even him
God,
at one
what happened
point
next door to him?
a few years ago, he was actually there was a clip of him telling telling black women and black families and stuff, because he literally was like doing a segue talking about his own race, and he said, you guys need to focus on yourselves. You need to stop praising, the mom being by herself. You need to quit kicking the dads out of the house, and it's all because of welfare. You guys need to, and it was the first time I heard him say anything that made any fucking sense. And he hasn't said anything that made sense after. So
I'd like to take that messaging to another level. That should just be the messaging. It should be one of those things where sometimes you can say a message, like they always try to put in black, white, what, like these weird modifiers. It's kind of like some people like social justice. No, if you got to add a modifier, it's no longer justice. You either have justice or you have injustice. You either have an intact family or you don't. It's not because of your skin color or whatever. It's because there's a formula that works better than other formulas, and you want to get as close to that as you can, because it's kind of nice when you have people around in your society and they can do stuff and aren't bad shit insane.
What if there's some kind of like constitution, or like a privatized constitution, which kind of like gives those kids like some kind of teaching, like I don't know, like some activities, like some kind of replacement for what they lack. So like you cannot governmentalize this, but you can have some kind of institution which is funded by the people who would.
I don't trust government. I trust people in the communities. This is cultural.
This is not governmentalized. This is privatized. Like it's funded by the people who, you know what I mean, who would support this idea. Otherwise, I cannot see it this being mainstream. It's kind of impossible. You know what I mean?
So the Boys and Girls Club, that was actually something that was kind of meant to combat that a little bit, to give role models to, or was it Big Brothers Big Sisters? That's what it was. That one. It was kind of, to give when a boy didn't have a father necessarily,
give him a role model.
Gave him a male role model.
Healthy activities.
Didn't really go real far, again, because they're not really praising the whole point of community and this and that. There's more separation going on than the other.
It goes back to the multi-pronged attack. If that's what they're trying to destroy, when the government arbitrarily chooses who gets money and who doesn't, and this is why it's better that less of our money goes to the federal government, aside from just the waste in between us and the government, the pork barrel and all that crap. If the government can choose the winners or losers, and they're picking based on whatever a political agenda they have, rather than just simple merit-based, what's working and what doesn't. It's like they'll fund movies. The government will kick money over to movies, let them use resources, whatever, if those movies are giving the message they want. But that means that movies that might criticize the government don't get that. Now you can turn that into basically they're encouraging political messaging that's pro-government versus against the government. Now I get why the government wouldn't want to support those who are against the government. However, it still creates a situation where they're picking winners or losers based on ideology.
Okay, so I've got. I'm sorry, Abdi. Go ahead.
No. I just agreed with what he said.
Okay. I've got an idea that actually would help out, and it's the polar opposite of welfare. Why not incentivize?
Pay all the money. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, no. Hold on. Why not incentivize people to be married? So if you get married, you get more tax breaks. A lot more tax breaks. They did. They took a lot of that away. People that are on welfare actually make a better living than people that are married. If they switched that around, if they flipped it and put it on its head and made it to where people that are married get more tax breaks, get incentive, for having kids and things like that, especially because the production of children has dropped off.
In Poland, I think they incentivize couples to have kids. Russia as well. But I'd like to take that to a more extreme. Whether it's correct or not, I don't know. But I like to explore ideas, which is we just lower taxes. A lot of people talk about, or enough people have brought up to me the idea of a flat tax, that I've been toying around with the idea, and I came up with this idea. Maybe somebody else has come up with it. All right, I don't know everything about everything, but something about 17% being the optimal tax to get the most money. Well, if you're a greedy government person, you want the most money. You go beyond that, you end up with about the same amount of money. So don't go beyond that. That's the first thing. The second thing is the individuals in a community get taxed, by their community, and when it goes up the line, like the state gets 17% of the tax revenue that was collected by all of those different counties and whatnot. And then the federal government gets 17% of the states. Now, look, this is oversimplified and it hasn't been fully thought out, but it's an interesting place to start. I'm not even saying 17% is perfect. Honestly, it seems a little steep to me, but
I
government bureaucrats
is what I saw. Yeah.
Government bureaucrats always want more money at the end of the day, and we can't forget that. Honestly, the government is too big. It's always too big.
Yeah,
it's always too big, and they always are like, it needs to be bigger. Well, yeah, that's great for you. You work in the government.
I don't know. I just I agree with that. I would like to see a flat tax and stuff. I would like to see like welfare be finite. Which it used to be. It used to be you could only have welfare for like 3 months or something like that. But then you got so many loopholes now where
just
people
extend it and
years and years and years.
And then you have generational welfare, and that brings me back to that subject I want to talk to Richard about, which is basically quality control in terms of voting. If you're on welfare, especially generationally, it becomes cultural for you. If you're going to cast a vote, you're going to be like, well, my vested interest is in welfare. Who's going to give me more welfare?
Yeah.
But something like those who have skin in the game should be the ones to help steer the ship. They're the ones paying the welfare. Yeah, it's easy to say, give me more money, but where does that money come from? Those are the people who should have the power. And look,
people that pay the taxes when they work.
Some people might try to paint them as uncaring and unfeeling, but nothing could be farther from the truth. They're probably not going to say, oh, there can't be any welfare at all, but they might go, we need this welfare to make sense, because people do need help sometimes, and they should have that help, but it needs to make sense.
Yeah.
Again,
no. Well, and just like people that get welfare, who I think if you get welfare, you should be required to take drug tests for illegal substances. And if you are taking illegal substances, you shouldn't get welfare. But that was an old school thing. But I think that's something I still believe in.
But how are the meth heads supposed to get food stamps so that they can sell them to others to get more meth?
That's the point.
Have you no heart?
I don't know. How do you feel about that, Abdi?
I was mentally a bit gone. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. People that are on welfare.
I kind of listened to the tax thing he was mentioned earlier. Was a question about that?
Oh, okay. No, it was about welfare.
It tied into
welfare and tax. Yeah.
It tied into voting.
No, you're fine, dude. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, it's cool.
Hey. Oh, there was one I wanted you to see today, David. It's not brand new. I think it's DirecTV is severing ties with One America News Network, OAN.
OAN.
Why are they doing that now?
Is it surprising to anybody that this is happening? This is my final question.
Their advertisers have been bitching at them about it. So AT&T DirecTV is. Yeah.
It's censorship. They go against the narrative. And when you don't have an argument, you have to censor any opposition. Now, some could throw in, I believe OAN is a Russia-owned network. I mean, that is actually...
I don't know. I haven't looked at that.
What's that?
I haven't looked at that. I did not know that.
I believe that they're a Russia-owned network. I mean, that's an argument because ostensibly you're allowing foreign views and potentially, likely, foreign propaganda in. But I don't think it's because it's foreign propaganda. I think it's because it goes against the narrative. I mean, they're censorious sons of bitches. Whether you be little
Oh, yeah.
or you be big, if you go against the narrative, they want to put a ball gag in your mouth, and fuck them. I don't.
Okay, so they're not Russian. One American news network is owned by Herring Networks, and that's
Okay.
based in San Diego, California, founded in 2003 by Robert Herring.
Oh, then
I think it's one of the reporters did stuff for Russia, but he
yeah,
hasn't
but
done
that's
that
one of the
in
reporters.
years.
That's different.
Okay,
That's different.
okay.
That's one of the
Yeah, but
reporters.
I think that's what they were blaming it on, though, saying, "Oh, he's a Russian."
That just sounds like
propagandist. So
they're
they're
making up
Owen as
reasons.
being Russian propagandists.
You show me
Well-
the person, and I'll show you the crime. That's what that sounds like to me.
I mean, you look at all the reporters for CNN that have been kind of getting themselves in trouble with sexual allegations and all sorts of stuff, and you don't see their networks closing down or.
Well, don't forget all the
platform.
literally fake news that they've had to backpedal on.
Oh yeah.
Wait, they had a backpedal on? They don't get
I'm
things wrong.
surprised that's not what they just do at this point. I mean, they'd have like a good 4 years worth of backpedaling that they could do.
I mean, pretty
God.
much if you watch CNN, it's you see breaking news, and then you'd be like, oh no, wait about 2 or 3 days, then you'll see what really happened.
Well, it's like
Pretty much.
Nicholas Sandman is a white supremacist, and it's like, dude, you got some random Catholic kid whose name was not known, and suddenly, because he's like in this awkward situation in high school, he's like,
Mhm.
yeah, okay, I don't know what to make of this. You're gonna be like, he smells like a white supremacist. Like, what? What are you talking about? You're insane. The people that got on that bandwagon, that's what blows my mind, you know? Like the fucking coddlings, like, yeah, his smile is that of privilege. Look at him. Harassing people by not being intimidated by being harassed by them.
Which cartoon character you just sounded like? Oh, I can't remember his name.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
You know, and then everything is going to end. We're going to be going into a middle of playing like GTA or something like that. And all of a sudden it's going to dawn on me and it's going to be like, damn it.
Well, I guess
Welcome to my world. ADHD positive.
If we get into the last thing, because I'm pretty sure this podcast is already gone pretty long. How long has it gone?
Half an hour.
Half an hour.
We're not that far into it. We, you know.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't want to do 2 hours. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, no, we're not doing 2 hours.
It's a sidestep, yeah. There was also the one that you guys were talking about last night. How I guess in Wisconsin they're about to throw out all their electors' votes for the 2020 election.
We were watching. They voted on it. And as far as I know,
It was unanimous.
Rex and I were watching it.
Mm-hmm.
And well, it was not unanimous. It was kind of funny because we were watching it. Everybody there. The guy was sitting there saying, "Okay, we're going to vote on this," and then some guy brings up something else. He goes, "Well, that doesn't pertain to what we're voting on."
Well, he brought up something else, and he said he was trying to basically quash the vote or whatever, throw the vote out for some arbitrary reason. He was like, "Yeah, that doesn't apply here."
Yeah,
and it's like dishonest actors just trying to do anything they can. Look, man, at this point, anybody who's power hungry, just trying to power game, they're gaming us as a people. Anybody who doesn't realize that, get that through your head. They're trying to game you, individual, you and all your friends, but you as an individual. You're just a resource to them. You're a dirty pleb, and how dare you step out of line? Know your place. Your station.
What are you saying, Abdi?
Yeah, that's facts, man.
Arizona, you know, they kind of had a head start, and you know, their government officials need to know who has the power, because I think if the people of Arizona had their way already, Arizona would have already done that. And I'm kind of wondering, look, it's one of those things. Is it bad enough for you yet? No? Well, I'll ask you again later. How many lockdowns do you need? How many bad policies that make your life difficult, that make you less prosperous, do you need before you put your foot down? You can see the writing on the fucking walls. If you're not smart enough to go, well, this leads to this, and it just gets worse, and not put your foot down, you deserve the tyranny you get.
Yeah. Oh, dude, here's a funny headline, David. Biden's deputy national security advisor said Americans should care about Ukraine because borders should be inviolate or
God, that's even
inviolate.
funnier.
And,
Oh my
and then
God.
and then it gets after that and it says as record 518,000 illegals invade the U.S. border in the first fiscal quarter.
It sounds like a Babylon Bee article.
It's real.
You know,
I was from your website.
I'm just saying, it sounds like a Babylon Bee article, you know? Biden
Yeah.
demands that Ukrainian borders be preserved.
Yeah,
While
what
inviting
about ours?
lots of immigrants across ours.
You guys think Russia's gonna invade Ukraine? I don't think so, man.
I think it's
It-
bullshit. It's a
They're
distraction.
definitely preparing for it. I
Look,
don't know if it's going to happen.
Look,
but-
it's
Yeah.
a distraction. The COVID stuff is falling apart. And before
Yeah.
we start going into how much bullshit it is and actually holding people accountable, they're like, hey, look at this. Look, no,
Yeah.
look at this. No, not the COVID. Look at this. Look at the Russia. Russia.
Yeah.
You look at the Russia. You
You're
look at the
probably
Russia.
right.
I think it's also bullshit, to be honest. Like, what's the point?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Russia's
What is
wanted
the point?
Ukraine for a long time because of the oil companies that are there.
Look, Russia is
Yeah.
big and it is
They
resource
control a lot
rich,
of oil in Ukraine.
but it's resource rich with or without the Ukraine. Now, do they want Ukraine? Well, I'm sure if you asked any freaking power gamer at the top, do you want to control the world? They'd probably be like, what do I have to sacrifice for this? Not much. Yeah. You know?
Well,
Yeah.
I think the three largest oil companies for the entirety of Europe are located in Ukraine.
All right. All that aside, while we're looking at Russia, what the hell is China doing?
Well, same. Yeah.
No. China's doing stuff that directly affects us as America. Now, I don't know about, other places, but here in America, we kind of have a problem with the CCP controlling way too much here, to the point
Oh,
where basketball players are reflecting the will of China when they're here in America. Okay, so you're over in China. Give China's thing when you're when you're in China. But when you're in America and you're trying to not say Thailand and you're not trying to say, free Tibet, that used to be a thing.
It used to be.
Yeah, it's not so much anymore. Isn't that weird how the Tibet thing just kind of faded away over the past 10 years?
Oh, that's what they want to happen, and that's exactly what's going to happen to Taiwan.
Yeah, well, there was an interview.
Fade into China. It's just going to become part of China.
You guys saw the interview where I think this lady was interviewing this guy or something like that. I might be getting that wrong. But they were talking about stuff. I think it was in terms of COVID, and he said something about Taiwan. And she's like, what? I can't hear you. You're breaking up. And then she hung up the call. Some crap like that. And it's like, this is bullshit there. Fuck you. Can't even talk about it. It's like the people in the White House now. They won't even say Trump's name. If you say his name 3 times, he appears. Ooh, Voldemort,
Yeah, in a mirror.
Whatever.
Beetlejuice.
They're gonna sit there like, I believe in bloody Trump. I believe in bloody Trump, and all of a sudden Trump's gonna bust through the mirror and say, "Motherfucker!"
No, he's gonna appear and go, let's make a deal.
Someone is dead soul.
Because it's a big sell. Look, I could knife you once, but I want to knife you 100 times. How do you feel about that? 100's too big. Fair enough. I think 50 is more fair. We'll go to 50 stabbings. Spin 3 times for me. Actually, spin 9 times. Well, I think we've run out of shit to talk about now.
I think we have it.
It's. Well, we got.
Well, earlier, okay, if we want to backtrack on something that Vex and I were talking about, I just remember what we were talking about. What was it? Weak men.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, favorite topic. Can talk about it for hours, for real.
Yeah, I was talking
Or
about
the reasoning there and why men
I was
are
talking
weak
about
now.
part of it was one of the elements, okay, is it is hard for anybody. We're kind of hardwired to be disgusted when we are seeing a man being weak. Now, why is that? It's evolution, I think. It's because all of our weak men basically died in combat. And if you're with a man who is weak, you're going to feel disgusted because you're like, okay, I'm hitching my future to a guy who's going to die in combat. Oh, great. This is not going to end well.
What is the definition of a weak man? That's where we can start, right? Because you can like, a weak man can be physically weak. Is it like what is it that it makes?
I think it's multi-layered.
I think it's mentally, yeah. Well,
I agree. Like what is it specifically? Like you guys want to find out? Like let's define this.
Talking about feelings too much and acting more effeminate than male.
Well, I think it's about
based on it.
It's about when you run into hardship, it beats you. You react irrational to obstacles in your life, and basically you're dragging everyone down. Because I don't know, as a man, I'm always trying to solve problems. If there's a problem, I want to solve it. Now, it doesn't mean I can always solve it. I know that, but it's kind of like I can't say I'm every man. I'm definitely not. But it's kind of hard-coded in me. How do y'all feel about that?
Well, so what I think, to swing around what we were talking about this morning, I think there's two reasons that we have what you would say, quote unquote, weak men today. And it's one, we don't raise children the way that we used to, meaning,
like role models,
things like
culture, shitty lives, expectations.
On kids nowadays.
Yeah. And then the other part of it is the culture against being masculine. That so much of the world looks at a man and says, this is what is wrong with the world. You can't, this is rape culture. This is, you're the patriarchy. This is why we're in the positions we're in right now. And blah, 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 blah.
I just want the evil penis man arrested because he scares me.
It's no longer men. Great men are no longer looked at to be aspiring or to be a role
model. They have
model.
toxic masculinity, and you don't want to catch that.
And that's I think those are the two things against.
What's the messaging? It's the conflict in messaging too. First you hear man up. Then when you man up, they're like toxic masculinity, and then you're like,
so what do I do then? Like, what's gonna make you fucking happy?
What do you want? You're giving me such mixed messaging here. Okay, so you want me to be weak but be strong? I mean, what do you mean? Talk about your feelings, but I'm not gonna look at you the same if you do. Work hard, but honestly, you work too hard. But I need more money so we can have more free time together. And it's like,
they don't work together that way.
How do you plan for any of that? You can't have that all at once.
I mean, you don't need to look for reasoning in them. I think those weak men, another characteristics would be that they don't actually have like an opinion. They don't have anything they can stand for. Like they're just getting over by more assertive women. Like how can those women are more assertive than the men themselves? So that's another problem. Like because they will get cancer, whatever. I don't know, man. Just very irritating.
Well, they won't get laid anymore if they don't do what the woman says.
Well, additionally, let's look at weak men in the context of men in power. If you're a weak man, you're going to be more susceptible to, let's just generically call it corruption or being blackmailed, or basically being like, oh no, my weakness, I have to do what this person says. So yeah, what do you have there? Somebody profiteering or somebody trying not to let their weird BDSM pictures get out.
It goes to saying you don't get something without owning something.
But then again, how can you, if you as a young guy, only have those people in front of you, and this is all what else can you actually know, right? Like,
it goes back to role models. There have been great men in the past. No one is perfect, but you look at these great men and you try to figure out what made them great. Not the nitty-gritty bad stuff. Like, you're not trying to pick up bad habits from people, even good people. You're trying to see what was their formula for success. Were they just born into wealth? Well, a lot of people are born into wealth, and they lose all the money they get. That's why they aren't great men or women or whatever. Like, you can get infinite money and still not be a success. But if you get some wealth and you're able to take $1 million and turn it into $2 billion, that's pretty impressive. Just like if you're able to take, a newspaper route when you're a kid, get $100, learn a little bit of entrepreneur stuff, work into a little lawnmower business, work it up into a full-fledged landscaping business. Next thing you know, you're managing that and you're buying properties and building homes. Like, that just builds up. You need a path for success, a model for success. If you can't have the person, at least look for the model.
And dare I say something controversial?
No, never.
As much as you hate Trump as a person, and I would never invite the guy to fucking Christmas. I just don't like his personality.
Yeah, he'd be a hoot, and he's rich. He'd bring.
But
And
one of the things about one of the things about him though was that he accomplished a lot of things, even though people didn't like him. It's kind of like that boss that you hate at your fucking job that you've worked at, but this company's been there for 50 fucking plus years. Why has it done it? Why has it done so well? Because this asshole that you hate so much made the choices that you could not have done, and did the stuff worked the intricacies of the things that you wouldn't have liked. Even if you don't like him as a person,
in ways you didn't want to.
Yeah, he made it happen though. So even if you don't like the guy, our inflation wasn't as high as it was when he was here. Our gas prices weren't as high. I could actually buy dog food without running out of it, even during a pandemic. And now we're running out of dog food because this fucking, I don't even want to call him names.
It's the potatoes, all right?
Yeah, the potato in chief can't fucking do anything worth it fucking.
Well, he's not in control as far as I can tell. I mean, like, you can tell me all day long, oh no, he's in control. Look, you gotta really be bullshitting yourself to be like this guy who says true habits under pressure and all sorts of. He's a gaff machine. He would be better on Saturday Night Live. All right.
Come on, man!
You better figure out what you are, because if you vote for Trump, you ain't black.
Well, I mean, it's just the
if
point
you have a problem figuring if you're for me, for Trump, or me,
I'm sure behind the scenes he suddenly becomes a strategic mastermind. That's why the withdrawal from Afghanistan went so well. I'm sure that was all him. What?
Yeah.
Who are you for? Are they trying to fool themselves? Because they sure as hell aren't fooling the rest of us. You're not fooling anyone.
I loved how
the dumbest of our society. Sorry, go ahead.
I loved how he said the buck stops with me. But then, what about this Afghanistan withdrawal? Oh, that was all Trump's fault.
Yeah.
That was all his fault. Wait a minute, he's been out for over a year now. Still his fault. You know, he's the one who started it all.
But haven't we all had that friend who's like, oh yeah, I own all my shit. Oh no, that was definitely their fault that I drank all. If you hadn't bought that alcohol, I wouldn't have drank it all. All right, and I'm sorry about pissing on your couch, but it looked like a urinal to me, and I think you should have a couch that doesn't look like a urinal, so that doesn't happen again. But I'm sorry, that is your fault.
Yeah, your dog peed on the couch. It wasn't me. I don't own a dog. I own a cat. Well, you know.
Well, and to get back to what we were talking about as far as masculinity and stuff like that, you look at it, like I said, whether you like the guy or not, Trump was kind of a masculine dude as far as how he carried himself, how he talked to people.
He hit something on the head for me that I just realized. Biden is a weak man, and that's why he disgusts me so much. Trump is a strong man, and that's one of the reasons I like him. Now, look, you can be a strong man, and you can be full of shit. But the thing is, a lot of people got mad at Trump because of the way he talked.
Yeah.
There's so many people who have been infantilized. We need somebody to be an asshole. They need to toughen up. They've avoided bullying so much. They need to be bullied. They need to have a thicker skin.
I mean, once Biden took office again, what is it? The King Jong-un or whatever started shooting missiles again. He's done 3 rounds of missiles this year.
But Trump was going to start a war with Korea. He went over there and everything. First president ever. That's dangerous. You know, when we don't like people, we shouldn't talk to them because something. You know the thing, man.
Yeah, come on, man.
Once Trump had actually talked to the guy in North Korea, or whatever his fucking name, Kim Jong something,
Kim Jong-un.
Kim Jong-un,
Little Rocket Man.
Yeah, we'll call him Little Kim.
That's it. We're going to hell now.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm a Christian.
But, he went there and he talked to him, and guess what? The missiles stopped. Nobody was doing anything anymore. They didn't
And that was
care.
the first time that a president actually set foot in North Korea. And it was the first time that North Korea and South Korea actually had a peace talk.
Mm-hmm.
I have a compare contrast for y'all. Look what Obama did with what was it? Iran. He gave him pallets of cash. Did that stop Iran trying to bribe them? No.
It never has.
Do you think leaving all of this military gear in Afghanistan is going to make them go, well, now we can defend ourselves, so we don't have to do this whole terrorism thing anymore? No.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's funny too because the Afghanistan army turned around, dropped their weapons, and ran like hell.
Well, yeah. I mean, did you see in his documentaries when they were talking about these guys? There was one where he's like, if I told them that at 0800 hours tomorrow they were going to bomb this site and they needed to get out of here, if I were to come back at 7:59, they'd be having chai tea.
Yep. My dad told me one time back when I was younger, and this applies to pretty much anything. But to him, it was, he sat me down. He said, "Look, you might not like the decisions I make. You might not like the way I handle certain situations you're in, but I'm your father first before I'm your friend." And he goes, even if you don't like how I handled it, I did it to the best interest of you and us. And it goes the same for the president. That's being a man.
That goes back to an important topic. When you got to be a parent first and foremost, and too many parents are caught up on the idea of being friends, and it's like, well, friends is more.
They can't make friends in real life. That's
it's an even playing level with friends. But as a parent, you have a supervisory role. Yeah, you can be friendly, but you have to be the supervisor. When I was a kid, my butt got spanked so many times, and thank God, I was out of control. I was a wild child.
Yeah, my dad used to have a paddle called Heat to Sea. In fact, he still has it. It's over right up on top of his safe over there.
Oh, what? Heat
as a reminder. It's a Heat to Sea. It's a wooden paddle the paddle part's about this big. The handle is about that long. So he can use it like a bat if he wanted to. Yeah. But it had holes drilled in it.
I had the same one. Yeah.
And it had a kid with his pants down, and it said "Heat to the seat" because it's the paddle going at his ass.
Mm.
Oh, man.
And my dad would always say, "The heat's coming. If you keep it up, the heat's going to come." And it's like we knew right then and there, cut the shit out before he actually got it.
I'm not even kidding about this, David. I think I might have told you about this. When I worked at the hotel, we had some excess wooden molding. It was oak molding, right? Mm-hmm. And it was about that long, and it was for Jordan. And Sarah, she was fed up. She was like, I can't deal with Jordan, all the stuff that's going on. Like, you're going to have to deal with this. And I said, all right. I was working late at the hotel that night, and I made my own paddle out of this wood molding. And I wrote in Sharpie on it, Jordan's attitude adjuster. Exactly what I fucking called that thing.
Oh, man.
And I came home with it, and I showed Sarah, and she just had this ghost look on her face, like, what the hell is about to happen? And I said, you made me leave work an hour early, and now I'm going to have to explain why to Jordan that this is about to happen.
No.
Don't worry, I'm still on the clock. I'm still on the clock. I'm just not at my paying job.
Yeah. But the saying goes true though for the president. People might not have liked Trump. They might not have liked what he said. But he was president first before a friend to the country. He does, and people don't like him because they're like, oh, he cheats companies. I had a friend who I used to hang out with all the time.
Played the game.
He was like, oh, Trump is bad because he ripped people off. He doesn't pay people their bills. And it's like, well, you got to look at the other side of it too. He's a businessman. If you come and do a job for him and it's not what he expected, it's not what he wants.
It's not the agreement.
It's not the agreement. He's not going to pay for it until you do it the way he wants it. He's the customer.
Yeah.
Plus he's a businessman.
And everybody said that he was a sexist right from the get-go. Yet he's the very first person to put a woman in charge of building management for one of the building. I think it was Trump Tower. The very first woman ever to be in charge of a building in management.
Yeah, and plus they say he's a racist. He has
I'm merit-based.
thousands of black people, Asian people. He has thousands of them working for him that are mostly, some of them are in manager positions.
Look,
And he doesn't
look.
care what color they are. He cares if they could do their fucking job. That's
Look,
what matters.
Right. And
The
that's
point
what matters
is-
the most.
on an individual level, you'll have a lot of friends, acquaintances, people. They'll say a lot of different things. But you see how they act versus what they say. I don't think any of us can perfectly line up with our own rhetoric, though.
Oh
we
yeah,
should
yeah.
at least try. But the point is, you judge a person by their actions. What did Trump do? Well, he didn't do PP Gate. He didn't do Russiagate. He paid off a very high frickin' high tier prostitute, Stormy Daniels.
Oh yeah.
But
Most of the
like,
lawyers
okay.
that did that, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So beyond this stuff, did he run the country well? Were we
Yeah.
making more money? Were there metrics of his presidency based on his decisions that improved our lives?
Aside from
Cheaper gas is
like
nice.
schools being shut down and stuff like that, even with COVID, everybody was relatively doing well in the States. And why? Because he didn't shut the companies down.
Well,
He
he
didn't say,
didn't try to do what Biden did, which
Yeah.
was an across-the-board presidential mandate for something that fundamentally changes the way the country works, which was unconstitutional.
Mhm.
And speaking of countries, Abdi, what do you or your country think about Trump when he was in office?
Negative. They were.
Well, there's a lot of
not-
negative messaging. Yeah.
Hmm?
Remember what I said earlier?
No, we're curious. Yeah, we'll
To be honest, I personally thought he was an idiot as well, but I think like Biden is a bigger idiot who's
Well,
pushing for
Here's
war.
what it comes down to.
So,
This thing is
Was
global.
like just, which guy is lesser of an idiot, so you choose that person. So I would say Trump is better in that's like I think Biden's just like useless in my opinion.
He's
You
a
know what I
puppet.
mean? Yeah,
Personally,
He
I
acts
think Trump.
like
I
a
think
puppet.
Trump came up.
I
yeah.
said
I
Biden
think
looks and acts like a puppet. But this is what I was saying earlier about the messaging the media tries to get across. The reason most of the people that he's talking about had that perception is what metrics did they have to look at? I mean, I don't go out of my way to research the German economy. Nothing against the German people. It's not my sphere.
wheelhouse.
And if you don't have the metrics of what he's doing to reflect on, what do you have? You have what the media tells you. Well, what was the media trying to do? Paint him as an idiot, as a brute, he's just a big bully,
Not to
Right,
mention,
right.
Trump also had the problem where a lot of his people helping him run things, because the president just doesn't do it alone. He has his cabinet, he has
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
other advisors.
Gotta have a team.
We found out there was a general who was giving him false information purposely
Oh yeah.
That's
to
treason
throw
as
him
far as
into a
last
different
I checked.
track. And it's like, why? And the general's like, well, I didn't like him, so I'm going to give him false information
That's why.
as
Which
to
is
how the
dangerous.
numbers we have here in Afghanistan to this information. It's not, Trump's not asking it for shooting the shit. He's asking it because he needs to know what to do to run the country.
Well, real
And if a
quick,
general is
Underneath
even
you
lying
can't
to
do
him,
their job, it makes it a
Last-
little difficult for you to do yours.
last I checked, that was treason. And he admitted to doing it, which
True.
makes, it's one thing to try and prove it in
Yeah.
court. He admitted to it. So it's admitted treason.
And you
I
should have
don't
been
know.
in jail.
Is
Yeah.
the definition of
He
that
sh-
word
he should have been.
too? I can't keep up with the word
know-
definition changing.
yeah, when it came out that Hillary Clinton was also involved in the
Oh,
whole
the
Russian
Benghazi
thing,
stuff,
and
too.
when Benghazi, that was worse. She when they questioned her, she flipped out and said, "What difference does it make?"
Yeah,
it makes
she
a lot
should
of
have been in
difference
jail for
because
that.
she's the one who was supposed to call out for help, and instead she decided to go back to sleep.
Yeah.
Didn't want to deal with it and brush underneath. So
Well, you don't
But that-
take one
I
of
mean,
the
that's
highest
another
positions-
conversation.
You don't take one of the highest positions in the land if you want to sleep through the night every night.
that's why, as president, I'm going to have Andy.
No,
that.
don't have
Yeah.
me do anything.
No, you're going to be Secretary of State.
No, I want to be in charge of alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. I'm just
All
kidding.
right, fine.
Kidding.
Then, well, Vex is vice president. I'm going to make him. Abdi, he's going to be an ambassador for
Advisor.
us.
Ambassador.
An
That's fine.
ambassador. Yeah, I'll make you an ambassador. We'll bring you here to the United States. So you could just be an ambassador.
Perfect.
I can see the headlines now. Crazy person has Madman Vice City in attempt to gain presidency from the American people.
Yeah. They'll be like, so what's the president doing today? Oh, he's playing video games. Okay.
Yep.
He doesn't go to Camp David at all. No, he's just sitting there playing GTA with all of his cabinet, you know.
Yeah. Be like,
Go
oh,
live,
wait.
go live to all the action.
Simulating a strategy for real life.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Exactly. You know, Russia's is starting to build up arms. All right, let me go to my facility real quick. I'll take care of it.
Yeah, let me get my orbital cannon going.
Just to make sure you buy enough shark cards.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's do a final thought because we're already an hour in. So, Abdi, give me your final thoughts.
I think like about the whole subject we spoke about, or like the podcast itself.
Overall,
Whatever
the
you like.
podcast.
Yeah, whatever.
And we already have our first bot that showed up.
I think personally that we have to like fix core issues about like the culture, about how masculinity is like perceived. The political things is just something like which should be changed, but if you vote for the wrong people, then things won't be changed. Same thing for COVID too. Like it just boils down to, do you have the balls to speak up and voice your concerns, and when will the people wake up? Because I think at some point people will change their minds and things are going to shit anyway, so we're just gonna wait and see. That's what I think. But I think I had fun in this podcast so far. Thank
We
you for having
hope
me
you
here.
come and join us again on it. You know, we like having you here.
Sure. Definitely.
You know, I was glad that you decided to do it. Unlike our UKian who said, "Yeah, I'll do it," and then he disappears on us. And it's like, okay, where the hell did he
a lot
go?
of us saw that coming, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a UK. Yeah, we saw
Well, no,
He's just young.
And Vex, what do you got? What's your final thoughts?
I like turtles.
Okay.
You said final thought. What, does that be related? I didn't get any rule.
Leave it to Vex to find a way out of the rules.
Yeah.
No, what's your final thought on the podcast discussion?
I like exploring ideas, and nobody's a purist, but I'm a pragmatist. I want things to work. We can complain once everything works. Things are kind of falling apart right now. Can we just get back to functionality and move all the chess pieces out of the way that are making things not work? Thank you.
You got to do one thing for me, though, Vex. You got to put the hat on.
Okay.
Yeah, do it.
I think I know what you want.
Yep. There you
Is
go.
that what you wanted? Let's you monster.
With that note, Andy, what's your final thoughts on the podcast?
I had one, but shit, it just went out the window. I mean, okay, so if some grown men from multiple different states of different walks of life can get a fucking along and talk about shit without losing their fucking mind, I don't understand why the rest of the world can't do the same with all of our problems that we have today.
Yeah, I agree.
Ah, the peace bringer.
Gotta man up.
But
Man up, fuckers.
my final thought is that, I think the whole world's going to hell in a handbasket. It's going to take the people around the world to stand up against their governments and say, look, this ain't right. Unless you're in Russia, China, or the North Korea.
Yeah, look, hard times make strong men. Strong men rise up. And,
or it makes dead men because, a lot of them, China mostly, you can't speak out against their,
The Soviet Union fell apart for a reason. China's not so different.
No, they're not.
It's a paper dragon.
Yeah. And hopefully, things start changing for the better and not staying in the worst.
Well, after the hard men, mop up on Isle Earth, we'll have good times again to make more weak men, so we can do this all over again. Whee!
It is going to happen again and again.
And with that, if everybody else is good to go, we thank everybody for coming out to see us. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell to get more content from us whenever we upload it. And have a good rest of your day.
Check out Rumble and all other media links always.
Yep. Make sure you find us on Rumble. We're the same name except for without the underscores, like we have here in Yahoo, which I will put up at the end of this video. But we're going to do an outro video if you guys are ready.
Ready.
Right.
We look to the answer as to why for so many years we achieved so much, prospered as no other people on earth. It was because here in this land, we unleashed the energy and individual genius of man to a greater extent than has ever been done before. Freedom and the dignity of the individual have been more available and assured here than in any other place on earth. The price for this freedom at times has been high, but we have never been unwilling to pay that price. It is no coincidence that our present troubles parallel and are proportionate to the intervention and intrusion in our lives that result from unnecessary and excessive growth of government. It is time for us to realize that we're too great a nation to limit ourselves to small dreams. We're not, as some would have us believe, doomed to an inevitable decline. I do not believe in a fate that will fall on us no matter what we do. I do believe in a fate that will fall on us if we do nothing. So with all the creative energy at our command, let us begin an era of national renewal. Let us renew our determination, our courage, and our strength. And let us renew our faith and our hope. We have every right to dream heroic dreams. Those who say that we're in a time when there are no heroes, they just don't know where to look. You can see heroes every day going in and out of factory gates. Others, a handful in number, produce enough food to feed all of us and then the world beyond. You meet heroes across a counter, and they're on both sides of that counter. There are entrepreneurs with faith in themselves and faith in an idea who create new jobs, new wealth, and opportunity. They're individuals and families who take taxes, support the government, and whose voluntary gifts support church, charity, culture, art, and education. Their patriotism is quiet but deep. Their values sustain our national life. Now,
Yep.
What just happened?
It's still in the rough draft process, the video. I had to change because of the audio on some of it. So I missed that one part of the
He's
edit.
working it, it happens.
I'm working it still.
Okay.
Do a fade out, and that'll probably solve it. A fade out.
Yeah,
on the
I still
Yeah.
heard music playing in that though. Is that what we got in trouble for last time?
Different
This
music.
is my song.
Got
So
it. Okay.
this is
Alright.
one that I've actually got that said that we can use it.
Ooh. Cool.
There's.
know about-
Sorry, go on.
All right, so
Well, I'm gonna
you got
switch
that, yeah?
back to Discord. Now that we're done.
So again, we'd like to thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Now
Yep.
get the fuck out of here.